Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. The season premiere, season 2 has begun. Episode number 50, everybody. We have locked in 50 episodes. Chance Michaels, how you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself? Coming
Not
fresh
bad.
off that great interview you did with Mr. Vance Nevada, Beefy Goodness, and the Cuban Assassins. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
you know what? Absolutely. Big shout out to those guys. Vance for taking out the time. Actually, Vance reached out to us. So even a bigger thank you to him for considering us and thinking about us to promote this amazing book. It was phenomenal. It was great to sit down with him and talk to him, pick his brain about some of the things. His answers were just on point,
Oh, yeah.
like we were just discussing off the air here. The brother's so well spoken, so I mean, it was a really easy interview to get into, and you were missed, brother, but there'll be lots down the road here, my friend.
Yeah, it was well done. The Canadian wrestling historian himself, Vance Nevada.
Absolutely, the award-winning Canadian wrestling historian.
Oh, nice.
Never forget. Yeah, so let's hope that he garners some awards for this publication, because you know what, this isn't something that was just written over a couple of years. This is something he's been working on for decades, since he started, sort of a deal. So, good on him, and thank you for providing all the details and information to us that we can, feed off of. One of the things that I kind of took away from it was Bruce Hart. I haven't published that interview yet, but having witnessed him going into the Hall of Fame that night, also having an interview with him, and I kept wondering, why is he so high on Dynamite Kid? Like I know that his nephews were there and his niece was there, performing. So I thought maybe it had something to do with that. But after reading the book and realizing that he was the one who discovered him in England and brought him back to Calgary.
Oh, wow, cool.
So that connection. So, a lot of those kind of things kind of make more sense. Reading this book really opened my eyes to a lot of the things that I watched as a little kid, and kind of completed a lot of these stories, because you didn't, I didn't realize that this happened after this and that happened after that, sort of a deal. So, guys, everybody, if you don't have a copy, go back, check it out. The links are in the bio there for that episode for people to buy this book. Buy it. Christmas is coming. So Amazon, there are no excuses. You can find it everywhere. Uncontrolled Chaos. Absolutely. That being said, Chance, I did get to sit down with the Cuban Assassins as well, and that was absolutely phenomenal. Check out that interview as well. We had to work on the sound a little bit. Unfortunately, I think they have positioned us right by the speaker. So, we're dealing with a lot of crowd sound and background music, but I think we cleaned it up, and it's a pretty cool interview. And again, amazing stories. We talked about the riots in Japan that they started. Yeah, of all places, Japan, they started a riot. I mean, those guys sit on their hands. They clap when they're supposed to. They're the most politest people in the world. If you ever watch a New Japan wrestling show, Chance, you'll notice that these guys clap at moves.
Yeah.
And the finishings and whatnot. That's what they do. So to hear these two guys started a riot in Japan, and to hear that story, you got to listen. You got to listen to that interview
I'm going to finish it off tonight. Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
What was your impressions of them? Just besides the interview, were they gracious guys? Are they good guys?
They were perhaps the most gracious fellas I've met to date.
Wow.
In terms of just accessibility and just the willingness to want to do it.
That's cool.
To be completely honest, that was the second interview I did with them that night, because the first one we did, for whatever reason, the sound didn't come through. So the video recorded, but the audio didn't come out. So luckily for me, I was in between. I went into the hallway just to hear it and realized that there was no sound. So I came back and I asked Curtis, who's with them. He's kind of taking care of them. Curtis, this is what happened. And sure enough, Frank and Angel, both of them, like, yeah, come back, let's do it again.
Oh, cool.
So the second one was better. The first interview was only like 12 minutes, but the second one we got an additional 4 minutes out of it. So yeah, all in all.
How old are these guys? Mid-70s?
Well, Angel, the original Cuban assassin, the one with the big beard, he's 82 now.
Wow.
And Frank, I think, has to be in his 70s. I mean, he looks younger, but I think he has to be in his 70s. I mean, these guys are battled, you can see it, man. They're battle tested. They've gone through it all. You can just tell by their bodies now. Like, I mean, yes, age has a factor to play into it. And, it's kind of unfortunate to kind of see the guys that you grew up watching have, the slow pace to their walk and, the challenge to get inside the ring and whatnot. But I mean, I get it. It all catches up. But it's just a testament to how hard these guys worked. I mean, yes, it's professional wrestling. Yes, it's scripted. We all know that. But I think
it's still dangerous.
But I think a lot of people forget this. And, this is where I think ignorance needs to be kind of thrown out the window. And, wrestling fans need to speak up a little bit and defend these guys. Like, we were talking the other day about, not you and I, but just with another group of friends I was with, we were talking about athletes and who are the best athletes, who are the most well-rounded athletes out there, and I thought to myself initially, soccer players would probably have to be the most, athletic out of the bunch. But then I thought about that, what? No, wrestlers, even the non-body guys have to have a level of athleticism to compete
for sure.
in that ring, especially at the WWE, AEW, New Japan levels. I'll call those the big three. To compete at any of those levels, even at the independents. I mean, if you're a big, burly man, and if you got like a lot of size on you, and I'm trying to be polite, not say fat, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
But call it what you want to call it. You got to have a certain level of cardio and athleticism. And considering at the higher levels, these guys are competing almost over close to 300 days a year. It's just not Raw, and it's just not SmackDown. At least the WWE people are. I don't think AEW runs any house shows. So, I mean, that's a really light schedule. You basically show up for your TV tapings, and then you kind of go back home. Where WWE starts. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I'll put it this way. In 2004, the #1 draft pick in the NFL, Mario Williams, in the combine, Brock Lesnar in 2004 ran faster than him and benched more than him and had a higher vertical than him. That's why I always say Brock Lesnar from like 2004 to like 2010 with his UFC, the WWE, he's one of the best athletes in the world at that time, at his peak.
No, I'm not going to disagree with you at all. Absolutely. And I think he's still a better athlete than some of the top athletes today.
Oh, absolutely. He's a freak of nature. So that goes to show you, I'm using his name because a lot of people know him. He's one of the best athletes in the world. Wrestlers are some of the best athletes in the world. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and just because of like I said, at that level where you're at a WWE level, fans understand. I mean, most of you already know this, but for the casual fan that might be picking up on this episode today, you won't, you guys think this fight maybe Monday or Friday, depending on their show, and then once a month on a pay-per-view, right? Those are just 3 dates that these guys compete out of each week. I mean, these guys basically start on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Raw guys go home on Tuesday, right? The SmackDown guys go home on Tuesday. And then they come back and they're back on, or Wednesday, and then they're back on the road again, SmackDown Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
It's crazy. The schedule's so crazy.
Yeah, so they're basically working 4 to 5 days a week. They're on the road at least a minimum 4 days a week.
And all that flying and driving wears you down too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, things have gotten easier now for the newer guys, but I mean, back in the day, you think about, like Vance was saying, sometimes you were driving 8 hours.
It's crazy.
Right? So I just think it's something that needs to be put out there for the wrestlers at all levels. Like, these guys put in a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
The bumps are real. I don't care what anybody says. You're landing on a very thin piece of foam placed above a piece of plywood, sitting on 2x6s.
Yeah, it hurts.
Right. And depending on the level that you're competing at, the lower the level, the harder the mat.
It's true. Yeah.
Right. So, you're paying your dues by being in the independents. You're paying your dues by working in the small halls to get to that cushy ring.
Yeah, that's right.
And even then, that ring isn't that cushy.
No, because those guys hitting you hard, they chop you hard, you get thrown on your back, doesn't feel fun.
No, you're taking bumps constantly, and it hurts. It hurts. Running the ropes hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a bump, just learning how to fall hurts.
Oh yeah, it's hard in your body. One of the hardest sports in the world in your body.
No, 100% said, man. Well said. All right, so here we are, man. We are now basically a week. Well, this weekend is Extreme Rules 2022, held in Philadelphia this year. Raw last night, man. Your thoughts on it? Did you catch it?
Yeah, I watched. Oh yeah, I thought it was pretty decent. For me, it wasn't as good as last week's because I was live, right? But it was still solid, building towards Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Yeah, it was good. What do you think of it?
To be honest, for a go-home show, I thought it could have been done a little bit better. But then again, maybe they put more emphasis on the SmackDown portion of it because it's the night before. This show's happening on Saturday. But that being said, Monday, it's its own entity, right? So I've always expected more for a go-home show in the past for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, SmackDown is SmackDown. It never did really ring my bell for a go-home show. But I mean, that's kind of changed as we've kind of progressed here with both programs. But I mean, I think they covered all their angles. I think they covered all their bases here. It's lining up to be a pretty good show. So Raw opens up with the Judgment Day coming out, cutting a promo. Finn Balor's talking about how he's going to take out Edge for good this time in their I Quit match. Dominic speaks on the mic, talks about how he hates his father, and he blames him because he lied to him his whole life. At that moment, I'm thinking, okay, is he going to say, Eddie was my dad or something? But
yeah, who knows?
No, I don't think they're going to play that angle. It just doesn't work, right?
No, not with Eddie not being here. No,
not with Eddie not being here. Plus, with Rhea playing such an active role in his year, it almost makes me. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So they kind of go back and forth, and basically, Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeat AJ and Rey Mysterio. That's your first fight of the night.
Good way to kick off the show.
Yeah, no, it was a good match. I think it was solid. And basically comes with AJ getting done in because Rey isn't there to help him out because he's being distracted by Dominic, who once again falls to his knees and spreads out his arms and tells him to hit him. And yeah, I think, the more and more I'm thinking about this, Chance, I'm really, really thinking that his wife and daughter are going to have to play a role in this somehow to make him want to fight Dominic.
Yeah, that could be smart. Could be.
Right? Something has to give there because right now there's no one to go against Rhea. And this is the funny part. She can take, she can kick and she can just participate in the 4-on-1 beating of someone. But no one can touch her.
Maybe it's going to be Rey's daughter versus Rhea in some sort of tag match.
I don't think that would work because I don't think she's strong enough. I mean, Rhea Ripley is just a monster, right? I mean, that wouldn't work at all.
What about the wife?
Not even the wife, really, man. I think it's almost going to come down to the fact that they're going to intervene at some point or come on the show at some point to kind of, say their piece because they've been fairly quiet, right? It's just all been Rey and him.
Maybe we got to get Dr. Phil in the ring and sit these guys down. And
I think something's going to happen where Rhea hits either his mom or sister and Dominic laughs about it or something, and that will trigger Rey. Something has to give along those lines.
Yeah, no,
right.
It's good thinking.
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of where my thought is on it. But then again, these guys have done weirder shit than we can even imagine.
We never know what's next. That's what keeps wrestling exciting. You don't know what they're going to do.
That's it. So backstage segment with Mustafa or Bobby Lashley, giving his interview, talking about how he wants to be a fighting champion and what have you. And it's been 3 months since he's been the champion. Enter Mustafa Ali, who says that he wants his opportunity. And, Bobby says, yeah, I'll give you one, don't worry. And he goes, no, I want it now. And, so Bobby said, all right, fuckhead, let's go. So basically, Bobby Lashley defeats Mustafa Ali. And after the match, this is where it gets interesting now. So Seth already has a program, but he comes out and he curb stomps Bobby Lashley not once, but twice, proving a point that last week's match was, a fluke, considering that Riddle had interfered and whatnot. So interesting. I guess they can't put the other title on Seth right now. So next best title would be that one, I guess, for him.
Yeah,
Um,
it seems like it's going that way.
well, it's going to be on the premiere of Raw next week. The Raw premiere is next week, and Bobby Lashley versus Seth freaking Rollins is set for that. So it makes me wonder how he's going to come out of this pit match with Riddle this Sunday. Because I mean, that's not going to be the dudes are going to be beaten up in that one.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match. I'm looking forward to that one.
Well, it's going to be interesting with the addition of Daniel Cormier as guest referee. That should be fun.
It's too bad that he came out in a cameo on the screen. I wish he was there in person. We just gave it a little more up. I understand for travel reasons he couldn't be there, but I think it would have added a little more to it. You know?
Yeah, you know what? I'll see your argument with this. I don't think there are any excuses for him not to be there, even with traveling.
I
Traveling
don't know
is
why
so
he wasn't. I don't know what the reasoning was.
traveling is so easy now, right? I mean, where is he? He lives in California. I'm sure LAX has 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 flights that go to Minneapolis every day, especially when you're coming out of a major hub. I'm sure WWE could have flown him out if they wanted to.
He might have had a prior commitment during the day, and that was the last minute thing to go in. But still,
well, he is teaching high school wrestling as well, so I mean, maybe he had some preoccupation there. But yeah, so
I would like to see Brock Lesnar come out and throw him around a little bit because they had that little beef in UFC. They never fought, but who knows? That'd be something interesting.
Well, I mean, there's a lead up to that as well, right? And I think that's what's going to happen actually, because Brock Lesnar is due to be back for Crown Jewel.
Good.
And I'm hearing, and I don't know if there's truth to this, but this is the introduction to Daniel Cormier here. And that would, I think, lead to him and Brock having a match in Abu Dhabi, very much the way him and Kane had a fight.
I hope so. It'd be cool to see.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting match. I don't know if Daniel has enough time to prepare, though. I mean,
he's an amateur wrestler. Maybe let's do a couple moves, shoot. I don't know what they'll do.
Yeah, they got to figure it out. All right, so we continue on with Monday Night Raw. WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Dakota Kai went up against Candice LeRae. Dakota wins with outside interference help from Damage Control. Straightforward match. I'm not going to dig too deep on that. Do you have any thoughts?
Basically what you said, straightforward match, interference.
All right, let's move on. So Otis, who I love Otis. I don't care what anybody says. I even love Otis when he was with Tucker.
Whatever happened to Tucker?
Tucker got released.
Must have done something backstage or something, maybe.
No, nothing. He got released when everyone else got released, but Otis was kept. And Tucker then went on a rant here and there, complaining about the WWE and pissed off about this and that. But you know what? Respect to Otis, man. The guy's, I guess Chad Gable has a lot to do with it too, because I mean he's kind of helped him along the way, and it's a beautiful thing, man. I love to see where Otis has come. He's one of those guys that I thought, okay, he's a flash in the pan. He'll be here for a year, 2 tops. But you know what? Respect to that guy, man. From winning the Money in the Bank and never actually getting to cash it in. Like the guy's awesome, man. I love him.
Yeah, he's so funny. He's good.
Right. So Otis defeats Johnny Gargano after Austin Theory attacks him with the briefcase during the match. That leads to Alpha Academy So Alpha Academy and Austin Theory beating down on Gargano. Braun comes out, makes the save, and that leads us right into the next match. Braun versus Gable, which was basically a squash match, man.
Yeah. Too much of a size difference there to make it any much more of a match than it was.
Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. So contract signing for Bayley versus Bianca Belair, that went down, and I don't know what to say, man. During the segment there, they were just going back and forth, so no one got beat up in the ring. Nothing got destroyed there. But then an image came up on the big screen which showed Damage Control, the tag team champions Io Sky and Dakota Kai beating the tar out of Asuka and Alexa Bliss backstage, which led Bianca to go. But then I guess Bayley tried to beat her up out there. Bianca got the best of her. She runs back to find Asuka in a chair, her knee in a chair, And Alexa is really angry and challenges Io Shirai to a fight that night. So that kind of leads up to that. Backstage segment, Austin Theory says that he will face Johnny Gargano next week on the premiere of Raw. Io Sky defeats Alexa Bliss with help from Damage Control. Now, this is one of the craziest beatdowns that I have seen in a long time. It was really cool to watch, man. They laid it in good. I mean, all three ladies came out, beat up on Alexa Bliss, which led to Bianca coming out. She got beaten down a little bit. God bless her. Asuka comes down with a kendo stick, dragging one leg behind her to sell the injury. She gets beaten down. There's that one spot where they took Alexa in between the ladder and smashed it on her. Wow, that just looked like it hurt, man.
Oh, it hurt. Yeah, you could feel that through the TV.
Oh, definitely. And those girls, so that Damage Control, that image of Bayley sitting on top of the ladder with the other two, it looked good.
It did. It was well done.
It looked really, really good. And that's how they ended Raw. I thought that was a really cool ending. So you know what? Let me take that back. Ending. If they were going to build up the stories, the Raw stories, I think that was an amazing ending. It was really, really good. White Rabbit made an appearance this time on Raw, not during commercial breaks or at house shows. Did you catch it?
I seen that, yeah. I guess it's pretty obvious it's going to be Bray Wyatt, I guess.
It has to be. I don't think it can be anyone else. Anyone else comes out, I think
it's going to be a letdown.
It's going to be a huge letdown. I mean, the first vignettes that we saw that kind of resembled anything like that were the ones that were reintroducing Edge. Like, Edge always has to have a video package of some sort when he's coming back, even if he's been gone for 3 weeks or a month, right? So that Edge one was okay because it was Edge, but if it was anyone else outside of Edge at that time, because again, I think everyone was thinking Bray at that time as well.
Yeah. Well, the wrestling community is thinking it's Bray. So like you said, if it's not, it better be somebody really, really special because they're going to be booing.
There's no one else special. There is nobody
not for that role, no.
No, nobody. There is no one else. The only guy I can think of, and check him out. He's on NXT. Gacy is his name.
I've seen him.
Yeah, so he's kind of a similar type of character, right? Yeah, just that kind of dark, kind of cult figure-ish kind of character. I don't think that would justify if he comes up and it's him. I think WWE's in a lot of trouble, man. I mean, everyone's going to forget everything, and that would be the end of Triple H, in my opinion.
Well, he'll always survive, but I know what
No. In terms of confidence. In terms of confidence.
Yeah.
It has to be Bray. I can't.
Speaking of Triple H, did you hear what his boy Billy Gunn said about him?
No, fill me in.
Called him a female dog because he's not on the special Raw, the season premiere Raw next week for the DX reunion.
Okay.
But he's with AEW, so you can't be on there, dude. You know that. But yeah, he called him a female dog.
So he called him a bitch?
Yep.
Okay. I love
that's my favorite. That's the thing I'm most looking forward to Raw next week is seeing the DX reunion. They're always fun. They come out there, they dance around, talk some smack. It's always fun.
Yeah, no, it's always enjoyable. And you know what? Because we haven't seen it in a while, I think it'd be that much more fun if it was like every so often or continuously. It wouldn't be as memorable. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Billy Gunn, you know what? I think I can understand where he's coming from, because if Jericho can come on the podcast, on Stone Cold's podcast.
That's a podcast, but he wants to come on the show though.
No. But Daniel O'Brien and I believe Mark Henry and Big Show cut little promos for, I think it was John Cena's 25th anniversary show.
Yeah, it was.
So they had
coming in the ring though, being part of the show is completely different than a little, vignette backstage on the screen, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. But if they wanted to do it, they could.
If they wanted to, they could. Yeah, but I don't blame Triple H. I wouldn't do it either.
No, right?
Why give AEW a lifeline? Forget it.
Well, I mean, Billy Gunn was his own worst enemy, and that's why he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd be fine if it, you know what? To me, DX is Michaels, Triple H in China, and even though China's Michaels and Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, X-Pac are nice to have. They're not the essential core. They're okay. It's like, to me, NWO is Hogan, Hall, and Nash. Yeah, you can have Big Show and Sting, but to me, those are the core guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Unfortunately, China is not going to be there.
No.
But I mean, I guess if you're gonna add Road Dogg, that's not bad. He's good on the stick.
Yeah, he's gonna stick, and yeah, the Xbox already because he's their friend.
Yeah,
And,
no, 100%. So I mean, 4 out of the 5, I guess, is okay. But I mean,
yeah,
that's the one thing about that faction. They never got any bigger than that.
no, they
And
kept
I
it pretty
think
good.
and I think that's what made it work. And that just gave me an idea for another show. All right, so let's take a look here at what's going to be going down at Extreme Rules, and maybe we can
Do it.
kind of do our predictions at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have the Brawling Brutes against Imperium in a good old fashioned Donnybrook. I guess that means anything goes.
Is that what that means?
More or less, man. It has to be something like that. I mean, it's Extreme Rules, right?
That's going to be a slobber knocker, as Jared would say. A lot of hitting, a lot of kicking, stiff.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a real fun match. I think you could open with that to get the energy going and whatnot. So,
Set the tone for the night.
yeah, no, definitely. The way it's been going right now, Imperium's kind of on the hot streak. I think I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Brawling Brutes on this one.
I'm going to go with the Imperium just because, like you said, they're on the hot streak. It's a Donnybrook match. I mean, it can go either way, but I'm going to give the edge to the Imperium on this. Give me a fun match, though.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking the Brawling Brutes only because the match is more suited to them. Also, based on the promos that Imperium has been cutting, they talk about being, this is the sport we love. This is, wrestling is something we respect and cherish. So coming from a very European style, they're not used to like plunder and chair shots. It's more, European uppercuts and, taking care of the, stiff in the ring. So from that perspective, that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the Brawling Brutes. It's kind of more,
could be
kind of more geared to them. And in no particular order, the next match we should look at here is the I Quit match between Finn Balor and Edge. Balor, it's going to be a fun fight, but here's the dilemma. Do you keep the heat on them and, allow Judgment Day to keep growing? Or do you feel if Edge wins that it would impede their growth and kind of shunt them?
Yeah, I think you're right with that. They got to keep Judgment Day hot. They got to keep the dominant faction. So I think Balor's going to take this.
I think Balor's going to
interference or something.
It has to be interference as well, but the only other side is how many times have they beat down? Like I'm playing just the other side of it now.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
Judgment Day should, in my opinion, I think Judgment Day should win, but I won't be surprised if Edge wins only for the fact that he's been beaten down a few times now. He's been taken off TV a couple of times now by these guys. Yeah, he beat Damian Priest. One could argue this
Edge needs to win.
Edge needs to win as well, but then again, does Edge need to win? That's the thing. Like if we know he's retiring soon, maybe after Mania next year might be it for him. And how many matches is he gonna have in between that and Mania? Extreme Rules, maybe one in November, Survivor Series. So
Rumble,
maybe he might be in the Rumble and close it off with a Mania match, whatever that becomes, right?
Yeah.
So from that perspective, the guy's got 5-6 matches left in him. A loss won't hurt Edge.
That's true.
But at the same time,
gonna be a good match though.
Yeah, but at the same time, I can see them giving it to Edge to make the fans happy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. It should be fun. Like I probably think Finn's gonna win, but I mean, like you said, we never know. Something's gonna happen that we don't expect.
Absolutely. Drew McIntyre, Karrion Kross, TikTok. Strap match. What are your thoughts?
Should be fun. It's gonna be they're gonna have some red marks on their back and stomach, that's for sure, and chest. It's gonna be brutal. Yeah. You can't fake that.
No. And your prediction?
Karrion Kross.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Karrion Kross as well, only because they really, really messed up when they brought him up the first time. Losing. I can't remember who he fought, but he lost in his first fight when he showed up there. Was it AJ or something like that? I can't remember. It was a smaller guy.
I can't remember, dude. I don't want to say, but I think it was AJ, but I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, but I know that they really like the way they built him up in NXT and everything. That should have just translated so easily and seamlessly into the top roster spot, but it didn't. They really fumbled the ball with him there, and then he ended up getting released. So Drew is a guy right now I feel that wouldn't be hurt with a loss in any way.
No, I don't think it affects him at all,
You know,
especially
I
in a
goes
strap match.
in a strap match, but he called for the strap match. He's the one who put the stipulation in there. Carrion's kind of gotten the better of him, but then again, what's his name? Drew has kind of come back and gotten his little just revenge a little bit too. So back and forth. I think for the evolution of the character, this one goes across as well.
I agree with you.
Pit match. Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. Now, Riddle did this type of fight in NXT as well.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Right. So it was pretty fun. It was a cool fight to watch. It was just kind of, obviously it's gimmicky. They can't make an octagon. They can't really make an MMA ring per se. So they have to come up with their own little, commando version of it. Like, I don't get the levels and I don't understand why it has to look the way it does. But I mean, in essence, it's basically a glorified cage match.
With Daniel Cormier as the ref.
With Daniel Cormier as the ref. I'm going to say it straight up. I think this is Riddle's.
Think so?
I think so, only for the fact that Riddle's been on a losing streak. Right? He's lost to Seth now as well. Seth is constantly getting the best of him over and over and over again. I mean, this is one instance where he is now playing the role of Cody Rhodes, and Matt is basically Seth Rollins in terms of that feud, the way it kind of looked and whatnot. So,
do you think there's any chance Lesnar shows up and grabs Cormier, or doesn't bother? You don't think that's going to happen?
Well, if they're going to try to build up to November's Crown Jewel, that would probably be the time to do it, man.
I'd love to see it because that'll steal the show if that happens, right?
Well, I know. Dudes. Yeah, I think, that leads to question, would this be the closer then? Because you got two pretty profile women's matches coming up here as well. Either one could close the show.
I think if Lesnar's going to come out, they'll close the show with that. If he isn't, I don't think they'll close the show with that. I think maybe the women's match will close the show.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, if it's going to be Brock coming out and whatnot, and Cormier, are they big enough to? Well, is Cormier big enough to get a? I know Seth is.
Maybe Cormier grabs Seth or Riddle and slams one of them. One of them fights Cormier at Crown Jewel.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's find out where
they're
going to go. Ladder match for the Raw Women's Championship: Bianca Belair versus Bayley. I do not know what to think about this, but I am going to tell you this right now, man. I think Bayley's going to win, bro.
You think so? I think Bianca's going to retain.
No, I think Bayley's going to win. She's hot. Damage control is hot. Bianca has been champion since WrestleMania now. So, it's not like
any interference or a straight clean win or what?
It has to be interference. I don't think if Bayley beats her clean, I will be very, very shocked. I'm preferencing her win on the fact that damage control is going to play a role in it somehow. I think they're going to do something along the lines where they're going to beat up. Oh, I just had an idea. You ready for this?
Let's hear it.
So Asuka and Alexa get the tar beaten out of them again.
Okay.
And basically Bayley is getting, the better of Bianca in their match. Damage control comes out, and Alexa comes out, and then you can see the start of a new character. Her eyes kind of change. That kind of leads into White Rabbit maybe coming back that night too. You know what I mean?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of think, where we're going with this, because now you're starting to see a little bit more character this week out of Alexa Bliss.
That's true.
You know how we talked that she felt like she was a shell of herself and she was just out there.
Kind of lost, yeah.
This week she looked a little bit more. Right?
No, you're right. That could be. That'd be cool. I hope Triple H is listening to this.
I don't know, man. I maybe we should be writing for them as well, or pitching storylines. But I think, I know definitely. But I think Bianca loses the strap here, and it's not going to hurt her to lose the strap. I think it'd be okay. It'd be a good way for them to chase again.
Yeah, I mean, no, it wouldn't hurt her.
It wouldn't hurt her. It'd be good because if she's right in the program, it's not like the program's going to end anywhere. I think this kind of just keeps going, and it comes to a point where I think Sasha and Naomi will be back by the Survivor Series, and you'll probably get what's her face, the Irish lass. Help me. What's her name? Why? Seth's wife.
Oh, Becky.
Becky Lynch. You know, she'll probably be back by then, so
Yeah.
you could
I
kind of
forgot
see.
about her. That's the thing in wrestling. You always forget about people. Oh, right. I forgot Becky's gone. There's so much going on with
Well,
her.
she turned face that
Yeah.
same night when Bailey came back, right? And but she was injured, so she's kind of been off the show for a while. Now, this is the only other match that could probably end the show because of the namesake guy. And it's not Liv Tyler, it's not Liv Morgan, it's Ronda Rousey.
She could close the show.
Rousey versus Liv Morgan for the SmackDown Women title. Now, Rousey said last Friday in an interview, I'm already considered the baddest woman on the planet. What do you expect from me with a weapon in my hand?
That's good.
Right? I think the story's been really fun. It's been pretty good. I mean, you got the champion in Liv Morgan, who's that one who always has to kind of fight back from adversity. He's always the underdog, even though she's the champion. But I think it ends here. It has, I mean, logically speaking, it has to end here. But throw in the plunder, throw in kendo sticks and chairs and anything else that you can probably get your hands on. I think Morgan wins again.
You think so? I hope Ronda wins.
I think Morgan, well, I mean, if
not that Ronda needs it, her name says it all, but I mean,
yeah, well, I think what will probably happen is Morgan wins and she kind of goes into her next feud or whatever, but this kind of starts the feud or builds the relationship between her and Shayna, and they go after the tag titles or something. You know what I mean? Like become a dominant force in that way.
You know, you could be right. I just, from my own personal bias, I like to see Ronda win, but you could be right with this.
But I mean, why would you call for a plunders match? You know she doesn't stand a chance.
That's true.
Right? She wouldn't stand a chance, generally speaking, against Ronda in a regular match. The fact that she beat her for the title, yeah, she had a hurt leg. You know, she cashed in her money back. She took the opportunity. That's how she won it. The rematch, she tapped out, but the referee didn't see it.
Yeah,
in most cases, you become a heel after that move like that. Because the face would never do that. The face would be, no, wait a minute, this is what happened. But she took that win and said, fuck it, I won. I'm gonna run with it. Right? She beat Shayna Baszler. Clean. That's not supposed to happen.
Not supposed to,
but it did. I'm just saying, even if you're playing a storyline, right? You know, even if we're talking about storylines and what have you, there was no way that should have happened.
No, that's true.
But the way they're telling this particular story is of a champion who has to fight from underneath every time, no matter who she goes up against, even it's Natalya, you would think that Natalya would beat her, sort of a scenario.
Yeah.
So it's always back and forth, right? So it's kind of like, okay, here we are again, but Liv's asking for this match. Liv wants a, anything goes match. Why would you write your own death sentence unless you figure you have something to offer? And she's kind of been showing her extreme side a little bit. I mean, that jump off the turnbuckle, onto the table there, that was pretty cool. That's something we've never seen from her.
Yeah, she's pushing the envelope for herself. Absolutely.
Yeah, so taking out Lacey Evans with the kendo stick the way she did. But here's the funny part, then she brings out that baseball bat, but Ronda makes it look so easy to take it away from her. But so you're thinking, shit, what have you done? You've basically screwed yourself out of the title here. But then again, to see her be able to rebound with it and get something on her as well, kind of leads me to think, okay, there is an opportunity here. So something along the lines of a fire extinguisher being blown in her face and a shot to the head with a kendo stick knocks her out. You get your win.
Yeah, I know. I don't disagree with you. Could go that way too. This match might close the show. It's hard to say, but if Lesnar's not coming out, it probably will.
And here's an interesting thing. Unless something changes here, I do not see a title match for Bobby Lashley. That's 2 pay-per-views now where the guy hasn't been on
and another
defending
thing
the U.S. title.
Austin Theory hasn't been on a pay-per-view for a couple ones either. Like had a match. He's been showing up.
Yeah, I know. He's just been kind of showing up. I don't know what they're doing with him. I think he's just kind of going through the motions and stuff, right? I mean, something's got to give. He's got WrestleMania coming up here soon. So, that's the other piece to this whole thing, man. Where does he fit in with the title?
Like I said, when Vinny was running the show, he would have been everybody sees things differently. So maybe Vinny's way more higher than Triple H is, right? And you're seeing that now, kind of, right? Like he comes out with a briefcase, but he's just like against Johnny Gargano, and like he's not fighting the upper echelon guys.
Well, I mean, he's having his feud. I mean, not just because you have the briefcase doesn't mean you go to the top tier.
No, I know, but I figure like if you're gonna build him like the way Vinny was, the next big thing, he's kind of like
I get it. Yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, the same kind of happened with Drew too. They pushed him to the moon, and he just basically became a mid-carder. So maybe they're doing it right this time by keeping him at his level, not building him too hard or too strong or too fast, not shoving him down the throats of people. That's the one thing about the WWE universe, man. They do not like it, generally speaking, having the show pushed down their throats, having a character forced upon you. We saw that with Roman Reigns. We've seen that with John Cena. When
but eventually Vince is right. They love him now, but at the time they don't like it. That's right. You appreciate it as they get older more.
Well, that's the thing, right? Yeah, no, 100%. That grows up on you.
If I was Triple H, I'd let Theory have a chance. You know what? We're going to give you a couple of the higher echelon guys, have a few matches, and if you shine, you stay up there, and if you don't, we'll bring you back down to the mid card level. He's young, he's got it all, so let him try.
Like I said, he's got the contract. Something's got to give eventually here.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy he's got to get the straps off of. It's very hard to beat.
Roman Reigns, yeah, that's the thing.
And I don't know. Like I said, I guess we'll know more and more as we get closer. Right? I think for me, it's always been Survivor Series has been that telltale what direction everything goes. Like everyone says, and I can understand people thinking that the road to WrestleMania begins at the Royal Rumble. But I believe the real road to WrestleMania starts at Survivor Series.
They started to build it up a little by little, yeah. People think that because whoever wins the Rumble gets the title match, right? That's why.
Well, you get that, but at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, all the stories that we're going to see this WrestleMania, in some form or the other, start in the weeks, like, Survivor Series, and weeks after that is where you start to see the seeds being planted for the feuds that we'll probably see come to an end at Mania.
Yeah, no, you're right on that. I never thought about the Survivor Series being the starting for WrestleMania, but yeah, it's a good point.
Awesome. So, Chance, I'm gonna throw something at you here.
Do it.
I'm thinking about storytelling today, and I think I messaged you earlier in the day, just to kind of maybe think of some of the stories that stick out in your mind. What are some of the best stories ever told in professional wrestling?
Well, some of them didn't happen organically, weren't supposed to be a story. Well, the Montreal Screwjob, because that spun off Vince McMahon and probably the best heel, or one of the best heel characters ever. Undertaker's streak, I guess you could say. Goldberg's streak at the time. Mega Powers exploding. And I love the DX when Mike Tyson came in there in '98, the Austin and HBK feud, when they got in the middle of the ring and he ripped off his shirt, he had the DX on. It's still one of my favorite moments. Those are some of the ones that stand out to me off the top of my head. What about you? What do you got?
Well, I love everyone that you said there. I thought about those ones as well. My personal favorite story of all time would have to be Undertaker, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels' story.
Yeah, that was a great one too.
Now, what I loved about that story, and I don't think it was intentional, but that was basically a 4-year story.
Yep.
It took place over a 4-year period, and it was dead for a few months of each year until the season emerged for it to kind of come back into play. And to have that accumulation of the Hell in the Cell match with him and Triple H, with Shawn as guest referee.
And JR on commentary.
Thank you. For me, that stands out as probably one of the best stories ever told in professional wrestling.
I agree.
Now, with the stories, the stories that you mentioned, the Mega Powers explode. That was a 2-year story, in essence. 2.5, 3-year story arc to get to that point of WrestleMania 5. Well, I guess a 2-year story. It kind of started 2.5 years. What was the other ones that you mentioned there?
Montreal Screwjob.
See, that's a work shoot story that changed the face of the game.
It did.
And
Yeah,
that's
it was
and that's
crazy.
and that's what stands out there. But in terms of actual just stories, things like that, that's what my whole thing was. Just like it's hard to tell a good story anymore because the attention span of the average fan is so
That's
short.
true.
They want results right away.
You got YouTube, you got phones in your hand. Like we had to
Yeah,
wait till next week.
no, yeah, you can't wait till next week, and this is why, again, I'm going off topic here. This is why I like Disney Plus so much. When they start a new series or they launch a new program, they don't give you all 13 episodes or
I
all
like
10
that.
episodes at one shot. It's a weekly show. You have to come back and
You
tune
get
in next
excited
week.
for it that way. Oh my
Well, that's
God.
it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Cobra Kai, for example, I was excited for season 5, but there it is, all 10 episodes or 13 episodes, whatever it is. It's like,
Good show, by the way.
no, it's fun. I've enjoyed it. Like I haven't started season 5, but I was just looking at it like, oh man, they give us all the episodes right away. I like that weekly thing. I think Apple Plus does it too, where the shows are released, Tuesdays or Thursdays or whatever the case may
I
be.
like that.
I prefer that, man.
The other good story that came to mind is in 2002 when Vince said, "I'm going to poison the company," turned around the back of the chair at NWO on the Hogan and Rock feud when Hogan took that big rig and he smashed the Rock's limo. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's when Ric Flair was pleading with him, "You're making a mistake. You don't know what you're doing." Blah blah blah. I remember that story. That was a good
And
story.
you got to see Hogan and Rock live, one of the most intense stare downs of all time and the hottest crowds ever there.
I think the match itself only lasted 4 minutes. The actual work in the ring between the two of them, majority of that match were their entrances and them staring each other down. I mean, the match itself wasn't great.
No, that's how good these guys are and how much large in life icons they are. They could just stand there,
it.
stare at each other. Hogan
Yeah.
with his weightlifting belt, and the crowd goes nuts.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it reminds me again. I go back to the Taker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, that first time that Triple H came out and challenged him, not a word was said.
Yeah.
Right. They both came back because Undertaker had just come back from his hiatus. Triple H had just come back from injury. Like literally the same night, they both come back. Just staring at each other in the ring, and everything was just said in the facial expressions and the gestures.
And especially after how Undertaker beat Michaels twice and finished his career, and then Triple H comes in to save him, right?
Yeah. And if you think about it, 3 of the matches on Taker Street came against Triple H.
Yeah, that's true.
People forget that he fought him at 17.
You did, yeah. I even forgot about that
and go back. I implore you, Chance, go back and watch 17. I think it's one of the underrated WrestleManias.
It's a good one. That's Austin and Rock, right?
Yeah. I think that's the one in Houston.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is a good one.
That was a good WrestleMania. I think people forget about it. I personally feel that everyone should go back and watch it if you don't remember it. And
that's the one, the TLC one, right?
I can't remember all.
I think that's the first one the TLC hit.
That's the one with Bubba, the Devons versus Matt and Jeff versus Christian, right?
I think it was the first one.
Yeah. So I mean, there you go. Go back, watch it. I think I probably go back and watch it now just after thinking
it's
about
a good
it
one.
here. But yeah, man, guys, let us know what your favorite stories are. In the comments down below, let us know.
Yeah.
And as you can see, Chance, did you notice that I did not tell people where they can find us?
You got all the links in the bio.
All the links are in the bio, plus they're at the bottom of the screen now. Obviously, we can't see it, but if you look down, you'll see everything written there. All our addresses are there, so our links are readily available to you guys. I don't have to tell you anymore, but I will say, please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey. It's been a beautiful ride so far. Chance, you got a top 5? Do you have anything for me here today?
I do. I got a top 5 for you. What are your top 5 favorite podcasts that we've done so far?
Our top 5 favorite podcasts. Well,
you think?
Okay, I think my favorite one would have to be a very first one with Scotty Mac, because we were greener than green. I didn't know what I was doing per se. I don't think you knew what you were doing per se. I speak for both of us on that front.
Yep.
As I sit here and reflect on that, and to see where we have come to today in terms of our quality, in terms of our pace, and what we've been able to accomplish, both, on all levels, on the promotion level, on the editing level, and whatnot. I mean, we've come a long way, Chance Michaels, man. You know, I can't complain about anything that we've done. Shakir Stevenson would probably be another one that was really fun for me, just for the fact that was my first ever soiree to a live event, covering a live event. What else would I say would be
Got 3 more.
the Molitor interview?
Yeah, that was big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that was really big. Shout out to Stephen Molitor, two-time IBF bantamweight world champion. Hopefully we can get him back on here soon, just to kind of chop it up a little bit more with him.
Yep.
You know what? I really enjoyed the Beefy Goodness interview that we did as well.
Yeah.
Both of them. I'll combine them together and make it one.
Yeah.
That was really good. And the work that we've done with Can-Am Wrestling and Otto Gentile. I mean, I've loved every episode, Chance. Every episode is very special. I'm picking those ones because they kind of stand out, because
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with those.
we were able to get insight from other people, so people aren't just necessarily listening to us, you know, jibber jabber on all day long.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree with your picks, actually, all of them.
yeah, no, but I think they've all kind of played a role, and as you can see from our own evolution and where we've come from and where we're going with our show, the sky's the limit, brother. You know,
Absolutely.
we got a new logo today. Big shout out to Mrs.
Good looking logo.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Mrs. Nixon. She was wonderful in helping us facilitate this logo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't want to say nothing yet, but I'm going to anyways. We have merch coming on the way pretty soon here, so we'll have some t-shirts out there for everyone.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, and then once we get them all lined up and everything, we'll maybe have a contest to see, you know, who really wants one, and maybe we can figure something out along that way as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And you know, we'll go from there. But hey, Chance, I tell you what, brother man, I need to run here. I got to get the little one to her gymnastics.
Yep.
Nothing stops, man. It keeps going and going and going. So on that note, brother Chance, thank you for 50 episodes, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. They've been good. We got a lot more to come. Just getting started.
Thank you for putting up with me in times where I can be a little bit.
I say how it goes in show business, man.
But brother, man, I tell you what, it's my passion. I want this to work. I'm going to say that in the next couple of years, we will be the biggest podcast in Western Canada, if not all of Canada.
We're getting there. For combat
we're working
sports,
at it. Absolutely. We're going to be the voice of the voiceless. That being said, there are a couple of interviews that we are working on in the near future here. We at Samp&Chance give the opportunity to those who need to have their voices heard.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to leave it at that for the time being, but pretty soon here, we will have someone on here to clarify some things that have been going on recently in the Alberta wrestling scene. So, you know, I'm kind of learning of the situation myself, but, you know, as soon as we're ready and they're ready, we'll get them on here to kind of say their piece and, you know, very much like we did with Scotty, you know, just have an opportunity to be the voice for them.
Absolutely. Totally agree. It'll be fun. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. Absolutely. So Chance Michaels, I am Bobby Sampson. He is Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great AC/DC, those that like, download, subscribe, and share the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. And in the infamous words of one of my personal heroes, Mr. Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it for Samp&Chance. Adios, muchachos. Have a great rest of your week. We will be back this Thursday because a lot of shit is going down Saturday in the world of boxing. So we're going to leave it there and we will talk to you guys Thursday. Samp&Chance out.